Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Himanshu Periwal, who is the co-founder of Unlu, which is a platform where celebrities run master classes on their respective fields. Uh, Hi Himanshu, welcome to ELI.
Hey Priya, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure, Priya. As you might have already sort of given a brief, right? My full name is Himanshu Periwal. I come from a city called Jaipur, and I run a company called Unlu. Right. And in terms of my sort of professional experience, I have worked for uh, conglomerates like Amazon and then startups like Exego. So I started off back in 2010 with Bain and Company.
Okay.
So after consulting, I moved to IIM Calcutta for my MBA,
Mhm.
and post that I moved directly to Amazon in India. And
Okay.
at a time when it was actually setting up the entire entity in India back in 2013-14, right? So I
Mhm.
was one of the first product managers hired in Amazon India,
Okay.
and also worked with the Seattle team for quite a bit.
Mhm.
So from there on, I took the startup plunge at Exego, spent about 4 years, helped it grow, primarily led growth, or product marketing at Exego,
Mhm.
and helped it grow from about like 5 million users to about 150 million users, over the entire span. So, uh, uh, took up the entire leadership and formed the entire growth team, etc., and got a very good experience, right? And since then, I've been sort of working with multiple startups like right from the likes of Urban Clap, MyGlam, Style Theory, etc., to the smaller ones. So have also invested in a couple of them, about like 15 to 20 startups where I've sort of either invested, I've mentored, or advised, etc. Right. And yeah, back in I think 2019 is when the three co-founders who are running Unlu decided to sort of come together and build this platform for creators where they can help the creators to upskill, then collaborate, create content, and eventually help them distribute and monetize content. So
Mhm.
we'll talk about more at length about Unlu, the problem statement, etc. But in a gist, this is more or less about my experience.
Yeah. So before we start talking about Unlu, I just want to understand how your experience at Exego and other companies. I think Exego is one of the coolest startups in Indian ecosystem. So how did your experience at these companies help you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more about it being a very cool place to work for, and I mean, the culture itself, kudos to Alok and Rajneesh, the culture itself, how it has been sort of built is, the most important things I would say in a startup, right? And the culture there was of, independence, taking ownership, driving things, right? So I think in terms of the experience, it was both at Amazon and Ixigo. So Amazon, I would say it was, like a complete I would say the foundational base for me
Mhm.
for working in B2C startups or B2C platforms, right? Marketplaces, because Amazon teaches you the customer obsession, right? I mean, be it at any stage, any level that you work on, you need to understand how to become obsessive about your customer experience. And that's what you learn at Amazon.
Mhm.
And it set up a very, very strong foundational base for me at Amazon so that, I could actually pretty much take any role at Ixigo. I mean, over the course of 4 years, I've worked across growth, product, marketing, content, business development, finance, even fundraising. So across the entire set of verticals, I was able to work because of having a very strong foundational base about customer experience and Ixigo's experience, obviously, with respect to ownership, driving, setting up things from scratch, and leading things and growing startups from X to 10x to 100x.
Mhm.
That sort of an experience was extremely crucial for me to or is sort of proving very, very relevant for me while we are sort of scaling up Unlu, right? I mean, over the last 3, 4 months itself, we have doubled up our team at Unlu. We've grown our revenues to significant, like almost a 10x increase in the last few months, right? So I think that experience is helping me here at Unlu to see or kind of deliver that sort of growth, without many glitches or without many sort of iterations. So yeah.
Take us to the first day of entrepreneurship. I understand you had a good career in both corporates and startups, but that was all as an employee. What happened? What triggered you to, start something on your own?
Um, well, I think to be honest, you know, the zeal for becoming an entrepreneur came in me right from my early ages, right? I mean, when I so my family is we are all Marwaris, we are all entrepreneurship is in the blood, as they say, right? So I have entrepreneurs or businessmen in various sort of relations in my family. But having said that, I mean, see, I mean, the idea or the wish, you can say, or the zeal was always there right from the childhood. I just wanted to get or build the right network, build the right sort of skill sets before I took the plunge, instead of, let's say, just taking the plunge and spending like 2 3 years figuring out how to grow, right? So I decided to get the right network, experience, skill sets, and then take the plunge. And hence you see like the entire sort of like the set of experiences that I've taken. I mean, I see both kind of personalities. I mean, I've sort of invested in one startup called Satik very recently, right? And it's being led by a 10th standard or 11th standard kid right now.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen all kind of entrepreneurs in the last few years. It's just about the zeal and having that strong, you can say, wish of building something, building a product, building a team on your own, right? So I think it's all about that.
Now coming to Unlu, first I'd like to start with the name. What is the meaning of Unlu, and how did this name came to your mind?
See, Unlu, it's a Turkish word, right? We always wanted to work in the creator economy, right? And our entire goal is in fact to help creators become popular, become famous, help creators, reach like that pinnacle right from the bottommost layer. So we chose this word Unlu, which means, or it's a noun for becoming famous, right? Like how celebrities is. So in Turkey, they use it for celebrities, they use it for becoming famous, becoming popular, and hence the word Unlu. Also, the other reason also is that we wanted to choose a very small name for the brand, for which we are able to get the domain. Like 50% of the startups out there, you choose the company name for which you are able to get the domain, right? So,
Correct.
but jokes apart, the real meaning of Unlu is kind of related to the vision that we have of making sure that creators are able to uh, you know go onto that path through Unlu so that they can become famous.
Hmm. Okay. Now about the platform. What is the platform? Tell us about it.
Right. See, Unlu is a platform where any creator in India who wishes to sort of make their skills or sort of use their skills in a professional manner can come and start off from Unlu, because Unlu helps them to improve their skill sets. It helps them to collaborate with other creators, create actual content, meaningful content, original content,
Mhm.
and eventually it also helps that same creator and that same content to be monetized and distributed,
Mhm.
right? So um, I mean, that's what exactly we do. But maybe to understand this better, you would probably, I think, the listeners might appreciate it more if they understand the problem statement,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
Tell us
the
about it.
reason why, yeah. The reason why we are doing this, because see, I mean, if you look at just a country like India, there are more than 100 million creators out there right now,
Hmm.
and especially the last 10 years has doubled up the number of creators, right? I mean, the next generation, the number of creators are increasing at a 30 to 40% annual growth rate, right? Number
Mhm.
of creators in this pool. So more than 100 million creators out there, out of which, if you look at the last funnel, right? I mean, this is the 100 million creators at the top, out of which, let's say, about 4 to 5 million are skilled, they have taken certain professional classes, out
Hmm.
of which about 1 million try to create some original content, out of which less than 100K, I mean, the actual figure or good monetization is only about 10,000. So about 10,000 of those creators are able to meaningfully monetize, about 100K are able to monetize at a very reasonable or minimal level, right?
Okay.
Now you look at this disparity, right? I mean, out of 100 million potential creators, only less than 100K are able to monetize their skill sets. right? I mean, we saw and instantly clicked, right? I mean, the rate at which this top of the funnel is growing and the bottom of funnel, there is nobody to support it. There is nobody to handhold these people to increase this 100K to 1 million to 10 million,
Hmm.
right? I mean, that is a complete out and out gap, right? I mean, there is so much of impact, there is so much of sustainable income, so much of monetization
Hmm.
possibilities, and all of this can only be done if you have the right understanding of this economy, creator economy, if you have the right product and tech skill sets and backgrounds, right? So that's the only way you will be able to solve this problem at scale, right? I mean, there are academies and offline institutes who are solving for it, but they're solving for it like 1,000 people at a time, right? Every year they're solving for it at max 2,000, 3,000 people, creators every year, right?
Right.
So they're not solving for like millions of creators. And hence we decided to take this plunge and solve for this problem where there is, as I said, like so much of monetization and impact at the same time.
So problem statement is well understood. How are you solving it?
So, well, if you look at the entire creator journey, the first step for a creator is to make sure that creator is skilled enough, right? I mean, you really don't need to, let's say, if there's a singer, right? You really don't always have to have classical training done, right? I mean, there are like 50 ways in which vocalists are coming up. If you just take music as an industry, right?
Hmm.
Apart from vocalists, there is lyrics writing, there is music composition, there is music production, there are n number of things that somebody can, like a creator can do in the music industry, right?
Hmm.
So we're exploring all of these streams, right? We are helping creators to get skilled in each of these streams.
Okay.
All of these creators become a part of our community. It's a close community on Unlu where all of these creators become a part of it. They start collaborating with each other. So I'll give you an example. Very recently, this girl from Srinagar who is also partially visually impaired, right? She
Hmm.
collaborated with a singer, with a vocalist from Punjab and with a composer from Bengal, right? Now these three people came together who have never met in their lives, who had never thought they would ever do this, right? These three people met together, produced the music, and we were able to successfully sell this, right? And each of these three creators monetized, right? And there are hundreds of such examples out there, which is happening live on the product right now. So,
Okay.
so that's the kind of change impact we're creating. And eventually, let's say once these thousands of pieces are being created on the fly on the product, we are helping at the last layer of the product. We are helping them get distributed, monetized. We've made creators work very recently with Dharma Productions, with Yash Raj Films, Saregama, a lot of these top brands. So,
Hmm.
so we're helping creators across distribution and monetization at the last layer.
Okay. I also understand there is a edtech as well as celebrity angle to it, where the celebrities are coming to teach their respective trades. So, for example, Manoj Bajpayee and Monali Thakur are some of the feature notable
Mhm. Yeah.
celebrities onboarded on the platform. So, how does that part work in the platform?
So, see, I mean, all of these celebrities come and take Undu class. So, the skilling part that I was talking about, right? So, the first layer of skilling starts with a celebrity-led class.
Mhm.
Um, and to be honest, for us as a business, it is just an acquisition hook to
Mhm.
get the relevant and the serious creators come on the platform and start their learning journey or skilling
Okay.
journey,
Okay.
right? So, that's the first layer of the product where celebrities come and train across the various genres, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, out of let's say 100 creators who take these classes, let's say somebody took a Monali Thakur or an Udit Narayan class on our platform, right? Now, out of those 100 people, about 20-25 get qualified, people who really performed well during these classes, they created, good content during these classes, they get qualified to become part of a thorough skilling slash industry launch program, which is called as Unlu Fellowship,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a 3 month cohort based class of 50 or 100 creators in a batch where let's say industry professionals come, they give live classes so that these creators can understand how to launch themselves in the industry, which is extremely important. Like an
Mm-hmm.
edtech as a platform will simply give you the learning and say goodbye to you, right? We don't want to be an edtech platform like that, like
Okay.
who is just giving you classes and saying goodbye. We want to create an impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Help these creators meaningfully get impacted by Unlu, for which let's say this fellowship exists, for which this community exists, collaboration exists, and then eventually the monetization and distribution exist.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So next question coming to my mind is how do we monetize? What are the different business channels that you have where you can make revenue?
Well, there are like n number. I mean, I would probably for instance, let's say I'll take an example, right? I mean, we've exclusively signed partnerships with Spotify, helping them in upskilling, procuring creators, podcasters, etc., helping podcasters in upskilling, in monetization for their podcasters, etc. So such kind of we've signed partnerships with companies like Triller, with Smule, with Z Music, a lot of these companies where these partners also help us pull in the relevant creators. We sort of upskill them and push it back to the relevant platforms from where they're monetizing. And
Mm-hmm.
as I gave examples of Yashraj Films, Dharma Productions, Saregama, these are some sort of production houses, media houses from which we are helping creators to monetize. So we've done more than $1 million of creator monetization over the last few months for our creators. So, yeah.
What are the major challenges that you have faced while building and growing this venture?
Well, a lot of challenges. I mean, I would say every single day there are multiple challenges happening, right? I mean, given that it's a product and tech play, I mean, the most important piece for us in this puzzle, solving this puzzle, is product and tech, and especially because creators as a target group is not extremely tech savvy, right? So
Mm.
let's say when we say creators, you think about, I was telling you people from, let's say, Punjab or Bengal, or southern part of the country. Now these creators who could be, let's say, in their late 30s, early 20s, any kind of a group, but they're extremely creative people, right? So helping them understand the product flow, you have to make it very intuitive so
Mm.
that they start coming and collaborating with each other, right? So
Right.
need to have the right flows, the right nudges, the right sort of interactions, etc. So I think that itself is, one important part of the problem. Then obviously as a product, you need to have the right network. So you need to have all the right partners, which is an extremely manual and time intensive job, right? So having those also takes a lot of time, for which we'll have to solve for a lot of problems and issues, right? So overall, let's say the entire playbook has been created basis the creator feedback, basis the learning, right? The first thing that we launched was Unlu class, and post that each of these products have been launched basis the feedback of creators. But having said that, like especially for an entrepreneur, right? I mean, I think more than half the time for any entrepreneur right now uh, would be getting and should be getting spent on grooming their team, or making sure to unblock their teams, right?
Okay.
Because I mean, as an entrepreneur, we really cannot, just spend all the time doing our own work. I mean, we have to sort of make sure that we are unblocking our team or helping our team sort of move to the next step, right? So I think that becomes the most important problem to solve for, right, in a company for an entrepreneur.
Any pivots? I understand that there are too many moving components in the whole business model. So any major pivots that you have done to your business model?
Not really. I would say not really a pivot. I mean, we've just been sort of see. I mean, eventually, like, we were of the firm belief that whatever we do, we need to end up creating immense value for our users, right? Unlocking immense value for our users, and that's how we sort of peeled it layer by layer, right? I mean, starting with upskilling to helping creators move to the next level, create content, and helping them monetize. I mean, it's layer by layer so that eventually the creator starts to see the real value of the platform, right? And the day, let's say, we have 1,000, 10,000 creators see the real value and go to the world and start telling the world that, okay, Unlu has helped me unlock this much value, realize this much monetization. I think our simple dream and vision is that in the next few months, any creator in India who wants to meaningfully make a career out of their skills, out of their passion,
Mm.
will know about Unlu and will simply come to the platform and start their creator journey from Unlu, right? So I think, in a nutshell, that is what we are building everything for.
Speaking of layers, I think as you mentioned, there are different business verticals and different stakeholders as well. So the creators, the celebrities, and all other components. And then there is master classes, fellowship, and community. Having said that, is there a north star for your business? What is the ultimate north star that you look at to understand which direction, what is the growth and all?
Yeah, absolutely. See, the North Star for our company, the vision is creator monetization, which means essentially helping creators to monetize, right?
Okay.
Right now, we are in a stage where even before monetization, it is collaboration, which is going to unlock the real value. So, making sure different types of creators can come together and start collaborating.
Hmm.
Although the North Star is that, I mean, this is like one of the most important goals and KPIs for the entire company right now is collaboration. And eventually, let's say in about, I would say probably 6 months, the entire company's single-minded focus will only be about the creator monetization per creator, etc.
Okay. I think for any platform businesses, onboarding the users is the most difficult part, especially when there is two sides to it. There is a demand side and supply side. On you have to onboard both sides simultaneously. So, can you tell us any growth hacks that you have deployed to onboard users at scale?
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially the first layer of the product that you see in Unlu class is probably the best growth hack that we have, you know. I mean, what we wanted for the end product is to have serious creators who will stick with us, who are extremely serious about their passion, about their skills, who want to sort of make it their profession, right? Now,
Hmm.
we won't be able to sort of get such a user directly from organic marketing or performance marketing, right? I mean, it will have to include a lot of calling to understand and even a face-to-face meeting, right? But actually, Unlu class helps us one acquire users for cheap for just 500 bucks. Anybody would be, you know, willing to pay. Let's say if there's a person who's serious about acting, and
Hmm.
we have like that's why we have like millions of users on the first layer of our product, right? On the Unlu class product, right? So anybody who's serious about that product quickly purchases, takes the class, and basis that we evaluate the user's performance, right?
Hmm.
So that's actually Unlu class from like a celebrity led class has become one of the biggest growth hacks for us as a company, right?
Okay.
And that's how we are acquiring relevant and meaningful users, for the other layers of the product.
Okay. What is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur?
Well, there are multiple, I would say, words, emotions that one can associate with the word entrepreneurship. And I'm sure like everybody would probably think differently, and which is absolutely fine, right? I mean, because for every person, the true sense of entrepreneurship at various times could be different, right? Like while you're sort of thinking about a startup, the meaning of entrepreneurship could be different. You're building one could be different. When you are at a 10x scale or the scale of, let's say, I don't know, like a Zomato, the meaning of entrepreneurship could be different, right? But maybe one or two things probably stay at the same position, right? So one of the things could be leadership, right? You know,
Okay.
being a leader, I think, is synonymous to entrepreneurship at probably any stage of an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
right? So let's say even if you're thinking about an idea or something or being an entrepreneur, you really have to think like a leader, or you know how you can sort of change and make an impact, right? Like how sort of we thought that okay, we'll be able to make an impact because of this gap that we saw from 100 million to 100K, right? And that's how we identified that okay, for us, if we want to be an entrepreneur, we want to create an impact, that's how, you know, we need to be, right? We need to think like a leader in this industry.
Hmm.
Right now also, let's say, if when you talk ask me about being an entrepreneur, it's more about being a leader for your team, right? I mean, if I can be an extremely good leader who can be looked up to, then
Hmm.
I think probably like 90% of my problems will be solved on the same day, right? Because I would be able to motivate the team enough so that I don't have to get into things, and I would be able to drive things meaningfully from the team. So I think that could be one keyword that you can probably take out of it.
Okay. My final question for you. Tell us about the different lessons that you have learned throughout your journey, working on startups and as well as working on your own startup. What are the different lessons that you have learned which are like evergreen that we can also apply to our ventures?
Well, Priya, I think again there are so many lessons that one has learned. I mean, I've learned so many lessons at different parts of my journey, right in the early days. The lesson that I learned, and on hindsight I tell myself, is to sort of take various experiences, like how I so even in my college days, right from, let's say, testing out, starting with a call center, right? I mean, just
Mm,
learning the tricks of the trade. Okay, how do you sort of sort of run in a job, right? And then consulting various industries, etc., in consulting. So I would say, if you're early in your career, it's and you should start early. I mean, the way I'm seeing the trend, I mean, there are two of my startups right now that I've invested in. Both entrepreneurs are either in college or their schools, right?
okay.
So I think for upcoming entrepreneurs, I would say starting early becomes extremely important in this stage, because it buys you time later
Mm,
in your life to sort of pivot to do more things, right? And try out various things. I mean, take the example of Ritesh from Oyo, right? I mean,
mm,
uh, I think there are enough and more cases in the US, even Mark Zuckerberg, etc. So
right.
starting early becomes extremely important. Being open to change, I think, is one of the most important aspects that a lot of people, sort of try and refrain from, right? I mean, I think it becomes extremely important if you're open to change, if you're flexible enough to try out experiments, right? I mean, experimentation, flexibility, being open to change, all of these are traits, right, of similar nature. And I think it's extremely important to have that. And lastly, I think the most important trait of being an entrepreneur, or even, let's say, a very successful professional, would be to, I don't know, like, in the simplest words, to not give up,
Okay.
right? I mean, I have seen so many cases where people sort of, give up. And it's not about just giving up on the final ultimate thing. It's about giving up on small things in your life, right? I mean, let's say if you decide you have to get up at 5 a.m., daily for, let's say, workouts, right? I mean,
Mm,
you have to start with, let's say, 7, then 6:50, 6:30, 7, 6 o'clock, 5:30, and then go to 5, right? Like, small habits that can make big changes. But eventual goal should be not to give up on something that you have set a firm mind on,
mm.
because I think that can really change your life in the longer run. So there are tons of things I could talk about, but I think these are top 2 3 things that came to my mind.
Thanks for your time, Himanshu. I think it was a nice session, and it was our pleasure to host you on our platform. Our best wishes for Unlu, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you, lovely speaking with you, Priya. All right, wish you all the best as well. Thank you so much.